Finance Speaker Series. And there's the FMA, that's us. This is the other finance club we have on campus, the Financial Planning Club. Business Analytics team, if you're interested in joining that. The Student Managed Fund, I would strongly consider or suggest that you consider getting involved with the Student Managed Fund if you would like. And there's some other information in here on scholarships for the CFA and the Research Challenge team that we were pretty successful with the last few years. What I want to get to is this Financial Management Association portion here. So this gives the information. First is the YouTube page. This isn't as big a deal to you. This is more for the World Campus students so they can join us in our meetings. But the member dues is what we're looking for here. So there's actually 2 dues, but they total $50, so they're not really that expensive. So you have to go to the actual FMA page, and that's this link right here. So if we click on the link and go to the FMA page, you get this join or renew membership. So you'll click to join and renew. Join if you haven't joined yet. Renew if you need to. So what you'll do is you'll register down here if you haven't registered with FMA before. So I will go ahead. I'm already registered, obviously, so I'm just going to log in here. There's lots of benefits to joining the FMA in addition to just here at Barron. There are job boards there and message boards, and you can chat with other finance professionals, some that are already out working and some that are looking for jobs like yourselves. But the job boards that you see over here, you have 2 job boards. And you can search for other members as well if you're going to a specific area, and you can find other members of FMA that you might want to make contacts with, and you can reach out to them through here. It's an extremely good tool for doing things like that. As you can see, don't worry about professional memberships or PhD students. Here's the student membership is $35. Now, FMA is an international organization. It's known all over the world, schools and professional organizations and corporations. And it's an extremely valuable thing to include on your resume. However, you cannot include FMA on your resume unless you pay the national dues. The national dues are $35 and our local Barron chapter dues are $15. So while we want you to pay the Barron local dues, the national chapter dues are the ones that allow you to put FMA on your resume and possibly, hopefully give you something to talk about in interviews with finance professionals who are familiar with FMA. So what you'll do is under member type here, you'll just click student. And then it's gonna, you will have already registered, so it'll fill in your name and the address of the here that I put in. The affiliation, so you can put that. I don't know if this does this for students or if this is just for me. It asks what type of field you're in finance. And then down here under the student chapter information, there's a drop-down list with all the schools that have FMA chapters, and we are listed in there, Pennsylvania State University, Erie/Barron. So you'll click on that, and then our local chapter dues, different chapters have different local dues. Ours are just $15. So you click on that $15 and go from there. So that is the page for paying your dues. But when you click on this engaging with the Penn State Barron program, if you have any questions about any of these things, or somebody asks you about joining the club, you can send them to this page, and the information is there, and the contact information for myself is there, and Mr. Shutinsky, his contact information is there, and Ben, the student president, is all in there. So if you want to pass this on to anybody for this information, please do. Any questions on this? Yes.
You also have the Honor Society for FMA.
Yes, the Honor Society for FMA. If you have 3.5 grade point average or higher, and you've taken completed at least 6 credits in finance, you're eligible for the FMA Honor Society, and that you'll be contacted at the beginning of the semester. I'm going to be contacting those folks that qualify. I get a list of people that qualify at the beginning of the semester, and then I'll reach out to you and give you the information on where to register for that. And what that does is it gives you a couple little perks, and one of the cool things is it gives you an FMA Honor Society cord that you can wear at graduation as well. And obviously, you pay your national dues, and putting the FMA Honor Society on your resume is a great thing to do. So thanks, I forgot about that. But so those that qualify, you'll be getting an email announcement in the next week or two from me, inviting you to join the FMA Honor Society. It's up to you if you want to. You don't have to join it. It's totally up to you, but you might want to look into it because there's some pretty good benefits to it. Anything else you can think of, Joey? Anything I missed? No? Okay, so with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Ben and let him get this meeting started. Any questions at all about the FMA sign up or anything?
All right, thank you, Dr. Coy. Once again, welcome everyone to the first Financial Management Association meeting this semester. We are happy to have all of you here tonight. We have the pleasure of hosting a wonderful speaker tonight. He is a Penn State Barron alum who graduated in finance and is currently working as a data and analytics specialist at Erie Insurance. So we are fortunate enough to have him back and hear him speak on his career path and his advice to students to be successful as early as they can. Without further ado, if you guys could give me a warm welcome for speaker Josh McAleer.
Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. It's probably far nicer intro than I really deserve, but it's really good to be here. It's been a while since I've been in this building, a couple years at least, and it's good to be back. I'm going to keep this really informal. I only have like 7 slides, so if at any point I mention something you want me to elaborate or talk more about something, or just have a random question that has nothing to do with what I'm saying, feel free to just raise your hand, and I'll be more than happy to stop and answer. So a little bit about me. I've had a really weird career and academic path. I initially attended Florida Tech on an Army ROTC scholarship, studied computer engineering, and then I decided that I was going to be a computer scientist. Then I was going to be a nurse, psychology, pre-med. Eventually, I just realized I was wasting a lot of money. I was wasting a lot of time. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I grew up, so I dropped out of school and started working part-time at Sheetz, which was really special. Got to sell a lot of hot dogs to people that were too drunk to know that they paid me, so that was a fun time. And I decided I needed to do something else. My parents invited me to move back in with them, which seemed like a fate worse than death, so instead I enlisted in the Navy. I became what's called a cryptologic technician interpretive, or cryptolinguist, which is basically a code breaker and a language analyst, and I worked for the NSA for a little while. I was in Hawaii for 4 years, which was really terrible, let me tell you. Really, really hard, really rough duty. Worked for NSA Hawaii for 4 years. If any of you remember the whole Edward Snowden thing about a few years ago, I worked in the same building as him. I mean, we didn't work together. He was tech support, but that was the building that I worked in. So I got out right before that happened, which was good because from what I can tell from what my friends told me, it got really unpleasant there after that happened. So at that point, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I decided I was going to go into international business and finance. It seemed like a good move. I spoke another language, I've traveled a bit, and finance just seemed like fun because I like data. I like understanding how things work. And finance is all about data. So I came to be a student here at Penn State because it's a really great school. The whole time I was in Hawaii and California, moving around the Navy, I was technically a Pennsylvania resident, so it was relatively affordable, and it just seemed like a great program. So I started studying finance. I got rid of the international business just because there wasn't enough math for me. Kind of weird that way, so I took a bunch of extra math classes, advanced calculus, statistics, probability, analysis of variance. I worked on getting my risk management certificate, my Bloomberg terminal certification. I took 2 actuarial exams, probability and financial mathematics. I was a member of the FMA, in the leadership team for a while, the Advancement Research Challenge. I stay busy. I don't like having too much free time. It gets me in trouble. So really, I just try to make the most of my time here because there really are a lot of great opportunities here at Barron. And I want to make the most of it because I was paying for it. Or the government was paying for it, you taxpayers were paying for it. But I paid for it with 6 years of my life, so I felt it was a fair trade. At that point, I became an intern at Erie, which actually I didn't want to do. I was planning on going to Germany on an internship that was being set up through Barron, but I applied to Erie anyway because why put all my eggs in one basket. And that internship at Erie turned out to be great. It was my backup. I applied for an actuarial internship. They didn't want me there, but I reached out to some of the actuaries who I'd met in one of my other classes that came to talk on campus and said, hey, I applied for an internship. Can you please make sure to give me good luck? I wasn't the right fit for them, but they submitted my information to another department, the underwriting department, and they wanted to build up more of a analytics and more of a business sense to what they were doing. So they reached out to me and offered me this internship. So I took it as a backup. The German thing fell through, so I went and interned at Erie, and it was awesome. I was technically an underwriting intern, but I did very little underwriting. They gave me a bunch of tasks, and I did those tasks to the best of my ability, but I also tried to figure out ways I could do more. So there's a lot of opportunities to shadow. Everyone was very friendly to me. So I went and shadowed in the investments department. I shadowed in claims, sales. Pretty much every department in Erie, I sat at someone's desk at one point to learn what they did and kind of try to see how all that fit together. And by doing that, I was able to identify problem areas, things that people were doing that were inefficient, because there's a lot of people that work at Erie. It's a huge campus. I'm sure you guys have seen it. And there's a lot of employees there that range from very young to people that have been there for 50, 60 years and are still working there. So there's a lot of opportunities to kind of bring some newer ideas and newer technology. Specifically, as an intern, I was given a project that was basically, hey, fuzzy logic is a thing, see if you can do something with that. So I found out that one of the employees was taking about a month every year to manually match up a list of names and addresses, which that seemed crazy to me. There had to be a better way to do it. And it turns out there's a plugin for Excel that does a fuzzy matching process. Not to get too technical with it, but fuzzy matching is basically, it doesn't have to be a perfect match. A computer doesn't know the difference between Joe Smith and Joseph Smith. It thinks that's two people, whereas a fuzzy match says, close enough. So there was an Excel plugin that was already built for that. I found it. It took me a couple hours. I put it together, and suddenly I was a wizard. And they managed to save about $20,000 a year in efficiency gains, which they liked. So when my internship was up, they said, hey, we want you to just kind of keep doing what you've been doing, but we'll pay you more money. And I said, awesome, I like that. So that's kind of what I do now. I'm now a data analytics specialist, which means I've got a couple tasks. One is to convert data into information. So what that means is there's a lot of numbers out there. I'm sure Dr. Philbeck still teaches this class and talks about numbers falling down from academic textbook heaven and how that's not a real thing. That's true. The data is usually terrible. So you have to find ways to take it and make it useful, to add context to it, which is kind of what my finance background has helped me do, because finance is a language as much as it is anything else. It's a way to understand the way data works. So I work for underwriters. They have one way of looking at things. But I have to talk to executive management, to some of the VPs, to our CPO, CFO, and I can talk to them in ways that make sense to them. And I can translate that data that they have me look at into things that make sense to them, into charts and graphs and things that are useful for making decisions. I've also kept working on improving systems efficiency because it really bothers me when things aren't efficient. I'm super lazy, and I'm willing to work really hard to be lazy. So I spend a lot of time automating things, a lot of time finding holes in systems and different ways to fix things. And as a result, I kind of coordinate across the entire company because everything is siloed off in some ways, and that's very inefficient. So I find ways to break down those barriers to let us use information for different sections. And I build a lot of spreadsheets. Some examples of some of the stuff that I've worked on. Erie Insurance a couple of years back decided to go to what's called middle market, which is really big accounts. And they did that and then realized they had absolutely no way to tell what they were doing with that. They had no way to tell what was middle market, what wasn't, how they were doing. So I created ways to come up with metrics to let them know how profitable it was, how much losses they had, that kind of thing. I built a lot of automation into our quality control, built brand new systems for them using Access and Excel. which sounds really complicated. They, like I said, they consider me a wizard. It's really not that hard. I taught myself over the summer, watching a lot of YouTube videos. Really, it's just a matter of finding problems and coming up with solutions, because there's always a solution. My big project right now is what's called the underwriting portal, which, as a bit of background, there's currently 12 systems in Erie that are all separate from each other, that are used every single day by about 400 people. And that seemed really dumb to me. So I told my boss that it seemed dumb to me and that we should fix it. So that's what we're doing now. We're taking those 12 systems and combining them into one big consolidated system. I'm not doing any of the coding. I'm not a coder. I can dabble. I basically put duct tape on computers and make it work. But what my job is now is talking to people, finding out what they need, what they want from the system, what it should be, and then taking it to the actual coders and kind of acting as a go-between and a translator, because the coders all speak in tech talk. They don't understand the business side of things. Business people don't understand computers. So I'm kind of the go-between to help them understand what's going on and make sure that what's being built really matters, which I'm really excited about it. We're going to be going live in March, and we're estimated to save about $1.2 million a year in efficiency. So it should be pretty good. I'm really happy with it. Now, I'm told to give you guys some advice. So here, some unsolicited advice, just based on my experiences and what I've been doing. So like I said, I've had a really good career path. Right now, I'm not a hiring manager, but I've come and done a job fair here. I've done business splits, and I've helped be a channel to get resumes to people that make the decisions. And I've spoken with them about what they want to see. So some of the big things are, you need to have achievements on your resume, not just participation. An example is, somebody gave me a resume a year ago. They were a member of, I think, 10 different clubs, which told me they were really, really good at putting their name on a sign-up sheet. You need to do more than that. This is a fantastic club. I was a really active part of it, but you can't just come to the meetings. You need to participate, be a member of the leadership team, do something with it. And even beyond that, it's good if you say you're a member. It's great if you say you're leadership. It's excellent if you say you're leadership, and here's numbers about what you did. You improved membership by this percent. You improved efficiency by this much. There's always ways to assign numbers to things, and that makes people take notice. So do your best to do that. You need to leverage all your networking opportunities. Anyone that you talk to that's in the business world, get their contact information, reach out, talk to them. I wouldn't have had my internship in Erie without doing that, because I didn't apply for the job that I actually got. It was actually kind of created for me based on people talking about me that I had established a relationship with. Your teachers here are going to bend over backwards to help you, and they have got a lot of students that are really successful now. Use that. Have them give you a hand. They're not going to be able to give you a job, but they're going to be able to give you a look. They're going to be able to give you an opportunity to get that job, which is absolutely vital. Seek out as much real-world experience, skills, certification, knowledge as you can. Your degree is only the first step. That gets you noticed. Erie Insurance, for example, requires you to have at least a 3.0 and a college degree just to get looked at. That's not going to get you the job. It just gets your resume not thrown out. To get more than that, you need to have some kind of certification. Here, you can get Bloomberg Terminal certification for free, which that usually costs thousands of dollars elsewhere. You can take tests. You can get underwriting certification. You can get different financial things that will really help set you apart from other people. And take advantage of all of your opportunities. You never know what's going to pay off for you in the long run. You might have in your head, this is exactly what I'm going to do, but it might not be a good fit for you. So don't throw away other opportunities or burn bridges if you don't have to. And always try to do more than is expected of you, because there's always going to be a lot of other people shooting for the spot that you want. Just as an example, for a typical underwriter position at Erie, like an underwriter training spot, there's usually at least 700 people that apply for that one spot. So you need to be able to set yourself apart from those 700 people. Just doing what's asked of you is never good enough. You need to be impressive. You need to set yourself apart somehow, because that's really going to benefit you in the long run. So that's pretty much the end of my whole spiel. I'm more than happy to talk about any of the systems I use, different techniques, different things in business. I'm not done with my spiel. I was asked by my boss to talk about jobs at Erie, so here goes. Internships at Erie are awesome. It got me my job, so obviously I'm a bit biased, but they pay pretty well. They treat you really well. They give you lots of real world experience. A lot of internships, you basically get coffee for people and do absolutely nothing of value. Whereas, like I said, I was able to save tens of thousands of dollars for the company and have a real impact. And other interns did as well. They did research, they built different systems, they learned a lot, and they put a lot on their resume that was accomplishments that set them apart from people that just have, I'm a member of the swim team. So the internships are great. They're very competitive. And if you want to be an intern this summer, it's too bad because they're already all hired. So get in early. Erie starts hiring interns September, October, the year before the internship starts. So you need to get in early, and they're not the only company that does that. If you want to get an internship, start really early because they fill up really quick, and you're going to have a lot of competition. There's also a lot of jobs in underwriting because we're expanding. So we're actually going to have a new underwriting class starting May or June of this year, and that application is going to start up pretty soon. We're looking into more data analysts because we're trying to expand that. I think I was kind of an experiment for them, and it paid off. So they're looking at building out better techniques and better capabilities there. So there are a lot of opportunities there, and Erie is a really great company. I have fantastic benefits. I get to work from home twice a week. This is what I wear when I'm not working from home, so it's very informal and nice. They give us snow cones on Flag Day, which is it doesn't really mean anything, but it's nice. And when the eclipse happened, we had a big party, and everyone got to stop work to go look at the sun. So it's just a good company. It's not the only good company. There's a lot of good places out there, but I thought insurance was super boring, which is why I didn't want to take that internship initially. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I love my job. But yeah, thank you a lot for your attention. I think there's plenty of time left. So if you guys have any questions about anything I've talked about, any systems, any skills, certifications, working, getting a job, I'm happy to talk. If not, this is my contact info. I forgot my business card, so this is the best I could do. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have through email. If you want to reach out, if you want a job at Erie, let me know. I'll try to get you at least a look. Provided your resume is decent. If you're terrible, then I'm not going to help you.